It's another day here at Eurobike 2019. We're going to be delving in and out of the 12 indoor halls and the 2 massive outdoor areas to find all the cool latest tech. Check it out. Getting to know your saddle can be really difficult if you can't identify the correct size for you, and there is a correct size for every type of rider. And generally most saddle manufacturers offer 2 or 3 different widths which apply to basically correlate to your sit bone width. But that can be quite a hard thing to figure out because normally you have to sit down and actually be measured. Not really something you can do at home. But WTB have come up with a really cool algorithm and it's based on your wrist measurement. So the idea is for men you would measure on your dominant hand your wrist measurement just in front of the bone, and on women it would be at the bone. And basically they have a calculator on their website. You take that measurement and it basically turns it into what your sit bone width would be. So all you would need is some sort of set of calipers to get an accurate reading of your wrist, and that is it. It's that simple. And then to further make things easy, they've changed their whole point of display system so you can identify how to get the right style saddle for you. So it correlates to your sit bone measurement, so you've got narrow, medium and wide, and also thin, medium and thick padding. Super simple. And then you identify by the correlation here which saddle type you need, and then you can pick whether you want chromoly, titanium or carbon. Simple as that. So budget, more expensive and through the roof. Absolutely brilliant system to identify, or at least give you a good ballpark where you should be looking. That is a great system. You know me and Henry, we love ourselves some really good tools here at GMBN Tech, and Untitled of course make just about every tool imaginable. Now this is one of their latest ones. This is a work stand. It's an electronic work stand, so it's power assisted. It's obviously designed around heavier bikes. E-bikes is a great example. You've got an up and down feature on it, but something that's quite cool is you can adjust the height on the fly. So I can just move this little toggle up and the stand will go up accordingly to that. It's damage protected as well, so when it goes down it actually releases part of the clamp so it won't damage the bike. That's very cool. And they've also got some other new stuff. Have a look at this. So you might recognise the tool like this is for straightening the rear derailleur hanger or the hanger on a frame. The cool thing about this is it's extendable to suit different size bikes. Different size wheels, 29ers, 27.5s, 20-inch even. Just a nice piece of kit, and like Untitled, typically well thought out really. And they've also got in the top of the cabinet here that I've just reached into a new chain tool, so they're kind of future-proof this one really. So it's compatible with the flat plate SRAM chains which you see on the road side of things. It's got a floating guide on here. It's just a really nice action. It's a pro tool. It's a tool, isn't it? So they're all pretty good. Help you fix your bike. So this is the new Enduro Saddle from Ergon. It's actually a saddle we saw prototypes of when we were visiting them, finding out how a saddle is manufactured. So I'm really stoked to actually see this in the flesh, especially now because it's got the oil slick rails on it. Absolutely love that. I think it's really good. So it's a much more slimmed down, it's a very tough saddle. It's got plenty of support. It's got a nice padded perch. You can get further forward on those extended steep climbs, which of course we know you're going to have in enduro stages. It really is like a robust saddle. It's got a big bumper around the back. It's really focused around durability, comfort for those endurance stages. It looks great. I've also just noticed as well, a corner of my eye, they've now released the collars of the grips in oil slick as well, so you can have that matching along. And these grips as well, so these are the factory compound, and it's a slightly different compound to the regular one, so it's a bit softer. They feel really good, and there's also a whole bunch of different colourways coming, and certainly a few colours I know Blake's going to like. I can see an army green from here, and a bit of a, looks like a bit of a sand colour. Let's go and check them out. So that is the sandstorm colour I was just telling you about. Blake is going to be all over that, and even more the deep moss. I'd say it's a bit more of an army green than a deep moss, but I love the names of some of these. You've got risky red, you've got mellow yellow, and you've got purple rain down there in the GA3s. Oh yeah, that's a killer grip, really good. That's the grip that I actually use on my right hand because I've got a bit of a damaged wrist and it gives me a little bit of support. If you like to have a little bit more hand support, I do recommend checking it out. It's pretty cool. The oil slick, though, as you can see, you can get those in the frozen stealth and you get those in the frozen moss as well. In fact, which has got that slightly green tinge to it. Super soft now. They're like really soft grips. Great if you ride with no gloves. Great selection of grips, I think. When we were over at Sea Otter, we checked out what was a relatively new brand called Ride Concepts, and they only make footwear for biking. They do flat pedal shoes, they do SPD shoes, they do female specific shoes, they do youth compatible shoes. They also do some really cool orthopedic style sliders, which I'll show you in a minute, but just have a look at some of the range. So these guys, bearing in mind, they've come from absolutely nowhere to have one of the most fully featured range of shoes I've ever seen. I mean, look at these. So that's your clip, basically all-round mountain bike shoe, high protection on the inside ankle there. There's also 3 different rubber compounds available for the sole. So this does use a slightly harder compound, but you need that with a clip shoe because you do need to be able to engage properly on the pedals. But look at them, like look at the female shoes. Rachel Atherton, of course, is using these shoes. There's Sam Pilgrim, there's a whole bunch of people out there using them. Again, emphasise the point, they've come into a market where really 510 were pretty much the market leader, but Wide Concepts are now right up there in almost immediately. I think it's an outstanding feat. But come and have a look at these as well. So these have actually been designed by a doctor to basically give you a correct foot support. And the whole point is, at the end of a day's ride, you put these on for your nice comfortable ride home and let your feet recuperate from the heavy riding. Whether you like sliders or not, these are really a good product. And using a fully featured soft rubber compound sole as well. I think these are nuts. Sticky rubber sole on a pair of sliders. Look cool at the beach, look cool at the pool. Or just ride your bike in them, do what you want. I like them. So we've recently done a lot of security videos on GMBN Tech, and some of them have been about ground anchors, some have been about locks, where to lock your bike. This is a brand new type of ground anchor I've not seen before. So the classic ones you might have seen, we looked at the Abyss one, we looked at the Kryptonite one, and even showed how to install one. But this has actually got quite a different design. So it's made by Hiplock, it's called the Anchor. It's going to retail well under 100 quid, so you're looking around 70 quid. It's gold rated for motorcycle and bicycle. And the really cool thing about this is how it works. So you can obviously run the lock straight through the hole there. It's how it fits to the ground that's really quite cool. So if I just do this, it's loose for the time being. You would crank this up tight. I'll take this out, and you'll see that you mount this directly to concrete floor or wall, whatever you want, and you can use whatever style fixings you want. But the fact that fixings are actually protected by this inner part, which then cannot rotate because the lock actually goes through this. So you can see how this could be really beneficial in a lot of places. So you could use this in a shed, you could use this on stud walls, you could use this in the back of a van. It doesn't actually matter where you put it. It's a really ingenious system, and actually I think it looks really quite cool as well. Love it. Now we know that WTB have been making some great tyres for a while now, but these have really caught my attention. So this is the Verdict Wet tyre. It's a spike, but unlike a lot of spike tyres that tend to have harder spikes, these are incredibly soft and malleable, but they feel like they've got really good support. So the theory is with a spike tyre, you obviously want it to dig right in and give you that traction. Hence, a lot of spike tyres tend to have harder compound rubber to dig in. The only trouble is that means they're terrifying when you ride them on harder surfaces. This is a good multi-surface tyre because of that. And because of WTB, they can come in different casing styles and different compounds. You can have the faster rolling, you can have the thicker casing, you name it. Tubeless compatible, 29 and 27.5. Decent tyres, and they have a big selection, as you can see behind me. But that spells a UK winter to me. So as you've probably seen on the back of Aaron Gwynn's bike, he's been running a no-named Derailleur, and there's been a lot of speculation about it over the last year, but it has been announced it's TRP, and this is that Derailleur. Now it's got a couple of very cool things. So it's obviously a downhill focused Derailleur. You can tell by the size of this thing, the jockey cage is very small. It's 7-speed specific. There isn't a spring in this one, just for demo. It's got a clutch on it, you can turn the clutch on and off, and it's actually a ratcheting design. So that's with no clutch. You turn it on and you can actually hear it like doing its thing. You can also adjust the tension of the clutch from the back, and something that no other Derailleur's got that I've just spotted is, so you've got your regular cable clamp here, it works in a parallelogram orientation just like you would expect. You've got your stops and you've got your B screw, or the B tension. Now the thing with the B tension is the Derailleur actually pivots around here, and apparently Aaron Gwynn hates his bike making noise, so much so that he actually wears earplugs sometimes when he rides, which I never knew, so the TRP guys just told me that. So this actually has a locking feature, so when you get it on, you get it set up in the correct position, you can lock it on. So the Derailleur does not move in any way except for just the parallelogram that enables it to shift. If you want a silent downhill bike, that is a really good shout. And this of course is the shifter, so 7-speed specific, specially designed for that TRP downhill derailleur. Fits on using what appears to be the same as the SRAM fitting, so it does mean you can use conventional brackets on the bars, and it's obviously going to work with their brake levers. But the cool thing I spotted on the bottom is you can actually change the orientation of the lever 20 degrees in either direction to really suit your sort of your ergonomics on the bar, get that exactly where you want it. That's clearly been a requirement of Aaron Gwynn. As he helped develop this, he wanted that option of moving it around so you can change the position on your cockpit. As you know, it's all about feel on the bike, so if it feels good, it's going to feel good to use. So, well, there you go. Feels nice and punchy in use. So I'm sure it's going to feel really good out on the trail. It looks like a solid option for downhill races to me. And really cool that TRP are now making basic transmission and brakes. Cool stuff. When you say city in terms of shoes, you think of the Italian shoes. They look a bit more like this, though. This is the Dragon, a very classic looking shoe. It's got the heel cup on there. You've got a very aggressive sole, carbon, of course, for maximum pedaling efficiency. They're really famous. They had the Dominator, they had the Techno, they had all sorts of shoes back in the day. But the latest shoe that I want to show you, a little bit of a departure from that. This is the Demaro. Now that, I think, is one of the best looking mountain bike shoes out there right now. Vibram sole on there, clipless compatible. Arguably, you could use that on a flat pedal if you leave the sort of plate in place. It's got a little gaiter here to stop debris going into the shoe. Twin system and laces. I think they have absolutely nailed that. And if you consider, just looking behind me, the classic design of City shoes, this is nothing like they've ever done. And I think that looks amazing. Everyone knows that Shimano makes some of the finest brakes and gears, i.e. transmissions on the market, but you probably don't know that they make some really good riding shoes as well. Of course, Shimano invented the SPD, that stands for Shimano Pedaling Dynamics, and of course they invented shoes to go along with those. So they've got two ranges of shoes. They've got the GRs and they've got basically the AMs. So the AMs are the clipper shoes and the GRs are the more gravity orientated flat pedal shoes. If we start up at the top here, you've got a top of the range one, so you can see it's got a cleat recess to use there. It's got a flap over the top, suitable for downhill, suitable for trail riding, whatever you want. I love the idea of these. They've always been excellent in the past because they do manage to keep moisture away from you, although it's not a waterproof shoe, so don't confuse it with that. But it does mean they're real easy to clean. You ride in mud now, you can just get rid of the stuff. A really nice shoe. I got a slightly cheaper and slightly less featured AM7, so it's basically the same shoe. It hasn't got the massive lace flat. It's got a slightly lighter upper on it, a bit more breathable, and it's got a little rubber gaiter as well there, so made from neoprene, so that's pretty cool. And you might notice they've got a women's specific one at the bottom, which actually I think is the best looking one of the lot. I wish they made that colour in the bloke size because I would wear that. I think that looks absolutely amazing. But then looking at the gravity based shoes, a little bit different. So at the top you've got the same high performance one, and then you've got the slightly lighter, less performance one with the laces set up. But actually in this case, I prefer the one with the laces. I'm just going to take a closer look at this. So you've got a Michelin sticky rubber sole on here, and it actually does feel really sticky to the touch. It is fairly stiff, but it's got a good kind of flex for off the bike hiking, I guess you would say. The upper on it is especially lightweight, and it's got a rubbery, waxy finish to it. This looks like a really decent shoe, and again, it's got the little neoprene booty there to stop stuff just going on the inside of the shoe. That looks wicked, and again, they've got a women's specific version of that. I've got to say though, that AM7, I think that's the coolest looking one. But I'd quite happily line up for a pair of those GR7s. I think that looks like a really good shoe. Good stuff for Shimano. In the last couple of seasons, we've seen Maxxis launching some really interesting tyres. In particular, working with Greg Minnaar to find the ideal tyre for him, named the Assegai. The Assegai is named after a Zulu spear, apparently, and Greg gave it that name. Very cool, very aggressive tyre. And he also started working with Troy Brosnan to come up with one. Now, we first saw it with a name on the sidewall saying "G'day, mate," and that was for a race he did down his neck of the woods. But now it's available on the market. It's known as the Dissector. Now, this tyre is available in 27.5 and 29-inch versions in the wide trail 2.4 carcass. It's a real meaty looking tread. Looks very fast, nice and open paddle design, so ideal for use on the rear. I'd say it's probably quite good on the front on tamer trails, but maybe out back you'd run this and perhaps the Assegai on front. Could that be the new equivalent of like a Mini and DHF and DHR? I reckon it could. They look pretty damn good to me. On the Kenda stand, we saw some prototype tyres that were kind of a sandy colour, but they were really, the idea for that came from the original Onza Porcupine, and guess what? They're back. Onza finally has released the Porcupine again. Porcupine logo on there. It's available in white, Tamil only, available in black, Tamil only, but if you're going to have a Porcupine, it has to be white to do the retro thing. I know this is really going to please all the rewind lovers who watch our show for all the retro stuff, and anyone doing modern retro classics, they're going to be fitting these tyres to the bike. Absolutely love them. It's a 68 geometer on here. The tread pattern actually looks pretty good, unlike the original Porcupine, which had questionable handling, but well, there you go. Retro modern classic, pretty cool. One of the questions we get on Ask GMBN Tech quite frequently actually from you lot is how do you get rid of the gunk on the inside of a tyre when you've been using tubeless, so all that tubeless gunk? What gets rid of it? Well, now Muck-Off make this specifically for that product. That's something I've never seen before. That's a brand new product. I don't think anyone else makes it. This is exclusive for Muck-Off, and they've also got an entire range here, and they've basically had a bit of an overhaul on what they currently do. They're doing a full tubeless kit. This is a great idea. So the packaging is cool, no frills. It's got everything you need in there to do a conversion for your bike, and it's got a full setup. The whole point is to tell you how to set it up, to guide you through it, and to give you the relevant things you need. You've got your tubeless valves, you've got your tape, and of course you've got the sealant as well. Now if you look around here, you've also got in these really cool little packets, you can get a rim tape in various different sizes, up to 35 down to 17mm. They look like little cassettes. I love that, that's really cool. And then if we duck down here a bit, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. So they've got tubeless inflators. They do these for road bikes now, and they also do these for mountain bikes. They've got different size cartridges, they've got puncture plug kits, pretty much everything you could possibly need for a world of tubeless. That is all the tubeless stuff. You've got to love the valves as well. So the valves themselves are made from aluminium. They've got 3 dust caps that come with them, the regular ones, and the ones have actually got a little valve core remover built into them. But just look at these ones here. Really nice little addition there. They also come with different rubber bungs on them, so compatible with every style of rim. That's something you don't get with most sort of tubeless valve cores. Very cool. Back on the maintenance theme again, and we're checking out some of the PT's stuff. Of course, there's Steve Pete's range of stuff. There's various different lubricants and stuff in the range. First up is the PT17. So the 17, you always hear like a GT86 and WD-40 and that. You always wonder what the 40 is for. The 17 is obviously for his 17 World Cup wins, and the company was founded in 2017, so PT17. It's a water displacing spray. It's kind for the environment. Unlike a lot of things like this, it's actually quite safe. You can breathe this in and it's not going to do you any harm. It's safe for use indoors, working on your bike. It's also a corrosion inhibitor, and the formula for that is brand new, and it's something that no one else is currently using. It was originally developed for use on oil rigs. So this stuff is really good for salty, grimy conditions to make sure your bike's not going to rust. Now once you've treated it with that, you can give it a good old polish with this. So it's basically a nice polish for your bike. Obviously don't want to get that anywhere near your braking surfaces. Smells really nice as well. Final thing they've got to show off is they've had these little valves for a little while now, so they're tubeless valves, but something that's especially cool about them is, back again, is firstly they come with a little valve core remover. A few cool things about them. Firstly, they're no longer made from 6000 series aluminium, they're made from 7000 series, so it's actually a stronger aluminium, and it also means the internal bore size can be slightly bigger, which means they're not going to clog up with sealant. If you take the cap off, that also has a valve core remover on it, you'll see that the actual valve core is also anodized, so it's the same colour as the actual thing. That's very cool. And the final thing, which is probably the best thing about these at the moment, is A, it's a valve for life, so they've got a lifetime warranty on them, and B, these are the Chris King signature colours. So they've teamed up with Chris King, and when you buy wheels with Chris King hubs and that, they will come with PT's valves on them. So that is extremely cool. You know what Chris King stuff is like? You buy it once, you never buy it again. That's the whole concept behind these. Anything goes wrong with them, they will replace them or fix them, whatever needs to be done. Valves for life. Cool stuff from the PT's crew. And there we go, once again, another great day here looking at all the tech at Eurobike 2019. I'd love to know what you loved from today's video. Let us know in the comments underneath. I'm throwing 2 more links to other Eurobike videos we filmed this week right down there. As always, give us a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and of course hit that notification bell up in the corner. Cheers guys.